Welcome to today's plenary session, which will be followed by the Continue the Conversation session. Please welcome Dr. Heather Meissen.
Hello, I am Heather Meissen, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you today Miss Beth Wathen, who will present this year's Norma J. Shoemaker Honorary Lecture. Ms. Wathen is a pediatric nurse with more than 35 years of experience in varied leadership roles. She received her bachelor's degree from Bloomsburg University and a master's degree as a nurse practitioner from the University of Utah. She has been a clinical practice specialist in the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit at Children's Hospital Colorado, Aurora, since 2005. She oversees the PICU's quality program and serves as organizational lead for the Code RRT program and the Sepsis Task Force. And she is the nursing lead for the Clinical and Operational Effectiveness Council. At the national level, Ms. Wathen serves on the steering committee for Children's Hospitals Association's Improving Pediatric Sepsis Outcomes Collaborative and is the co-lead for the ICU work group. She has also served in a number of leadership roles for the American Association of Critical Care Nurses, including Chair of the National Teaching Institute's Annual Conference Planning Committee in 2015, a director on AACN's Board of Directors for 3 years, a one-year term as president-elect, and is currently serving a one-year term as president of AACN. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Beth Wathen as she presents Cultivating Leadership from Within.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I am so honored to have this opportunity to talk about leadership development with such a diverse group of healthcare professionals. I'm sure many of you are already accomplished leaders in your own right, but I'm a firm believer that we're all works in progress. And so I hope that all of you can find something that you'll take away from this talk. As the title of this presentation alludes to, I view leadership development as very much an internal process, understanding what drives you, understanding what kind of leaders inspire you, and understanding what kind of leader you want to be. These are really essential elements if you want to advance your leadership, and they'll provide you with a real solid foundation on which to build on. So over the next 30 minutes or so, I'd like to first explore the importance of understanding your core purpose. This is what will fuel your passion. And then I'm going to touch on some of my thoughts on leadership styles and characteristics or qualities of successful leaders. My intent is to plant the seed that this is really for you to understand and explore where your strengths lie, what qualities you embody, and what qualities inspire you. And finally, I'll talk about some strategies to consider when laying out a plan to advance your leadership development. And these are the strategies that I've found invaluable. You may have other ones as well, and that's okay. There is absolutely no one right way or wrong way. Finding your purpose. Understanding your why. Understanding where your passion lies is really fundamental, not only for a successful leadership journey, but also for an enriching career and a fulfilling life. So when I say finding your purpose, I'm really talking about what fills your cup, because I believe that the most successful and influential leaders are the ones who truly have a passion for what they're doing and a passion for leading. And it's that passion that inspires others. So I want to share just a little bit about my journey because it's really how I found my passion and my purpose. So you'll notice throughout this talk that most of the slides have images of nature, and I'll share why in just a second. When I was younger and early in my nursing career, I had this image of my life, my career, and it was very much like these beautiful allays of trees. I viewed my life and my career as this linear path, straight path, ordered, predictable, beautiful, no surprises. And I actually thought I would have control over all of it. I think many of us picture our lives this way when we're younger or new in your career. But in reality, this is often what our paths end up looking like. Our lives and careers typically don't follow the path we envision when we're younger. They aren't straight and predictable. In reality, they're almost always crooked, messy, and filled with unexpected twists and turns. And my path was no different. Shortly after starting my first nurse practitioner position 30 years ago, my first husband was killed in a tragic accident. Losing my husband sent my life and my career off in a completely different direction. It was like a tornado came through and destroyed that beautiful alley of trees that I had envisioned. And the grief from that loss led me to walk away from my nursing career for a couple of years. I did find my way back over time. I found my way back through taking time in nature, exploring the Rocky Mountains where I lived, leading cycling tours, and even getting a degree in landscape architecture. Hence, the images of nature throughout this talk were really part of my healing journey, and they represent a passion of mine. And I find myself making analogies to nature in my mind all the time. So bear with me. This journey and departure from this straight life course that I had envisioned was also a way back for me. I understand now that sometimes you have to walk away in order to find your way. And before I walked away, I can tell you I was not passionate about nursing or my career. I didn't feel like it was something that I was meant to do. It felt like a safe career choice. But it was by walking away that I realized that as much as I loved beautiful allays of trees and designing outdoor spaces or being out in nature, that it was nursing and the feeling that I get at the end of the day that I'm truly making a difference in other people's lives. That's what really fills my cup. And I know that sounds cliche, but walking away made me realize what I was missing doing those other things and what I wanted or needed to feel fulfilled in my career. So now I've learned to embrace this crooked alley version of life. It may be messy and unpredictable, but there's also hidden opportunities behind the obstacles or bends in the path. And there's a beauty there in the unexpected. And I've learned to embrace that. I've learned to look for the beauty and the opportunity in unexpected places. So I would encourage all of you to think about what fuels your passion. What fills your cup? Pursue it and embrace it, because it's that passion that you bring to the table that translates into inspiring and influential leadership. So whether you're a physician, an advanced practice provider, a nurse, or a pharmacist, we all spend years of training on becoming expert clinicians in our chosen fields. But I would wager that not many of us envisioned being a leader or really gave much thought to that in our training. In fact, I'd bet that most of us didn't really have any focused training on leadership. I know I didn't. Yet healthcare is just rife with all types of leadership opportunities. And when I think about healthcare right now, I think it's even more imperative that we grow and foster passionate, inspiring, and visionary leaders to guide us through these times and towards our new future. So maybe thinking about leadership opportunities hasn't surfaced for you in your journey yet. Or maybe you're at that point where you're thinking, what next? Either way, understanding what characteristics, those styles and qualities of leaders that resonate for you is vital sense-making we should all do. No matter where you see your career going, I believe if you take the time to cultivate your leadership development, it'll pay off. The skills you hone provide a solid foundation, whether you aspire to be the next CMO or CNO at your organization, or if you desire to advance as an expert clinician and remain in a more clinically focused role. By doing the work to understand your purpose and your passion, and to understand what characteristics and styles you admire in a leader, and to know where your strengths and opportunities lie, will allow you to stand out as a leader. I view leadership as more of a way of being and less about a title or a role that you hold. In healthcare, I think we think about medical directors and section heads and clinical managers as being the leader. I would challenge all of us to broaden your thinking on that. Think about who you look up to. Think about who others tend to listen to. Oftentimes, you'll find that those people are not always the ones with leadership titles, but they hold power and influence over others. And I would argue that they are very much leaders in their own right. Think about what makes them stand out as a leader. So there are countless books, references, podcasts, TED Talks out there on leadership styles, servant leaders, autocratic leaders, laissez-faire, transactional, transformative. It's all a little bit overwhelming, honestly, when you start to read or dive into this in leadership development. And remarkably, there's also a lot we can learn about leadership styles of wildlife, even. Take elephant herds. Elephant herds are led by a matriarch who leads by walking alongside others, teaching others skills. She grows and mentors her replacement. She nurtures community. She is chosen by the herd because of her leadership skills, her ability to problem solve, her compassion, her social intelligence, her building of community, and so on. So what's my point? Whether you follow Kevin Cashman or Simon Sinek or other leadership gurus, or if you prefer to read about leadership in the animal kingdom, it's important each of us understands the leadership styles that resonate with you. There's no right or wrong style. And so I would suggest looking to those leaders that have inspired you. What style of leadership do they embody? What was compelling about their leadership style that drew you in? And then think about yourself and how would you describe your leadership style? Even more granular and closely related to leadership styles are leadership characteristics or qualities. And for me, this is really what matters. And I think that what characteristics you embody probably directly influences what leadership style resonates most with you. And there's countless characteristics we might attribute to successful leaders. These are really just a few examples I threw up here. But think about what characteristics you feel are most critical for a successful leader to have, and which ones resonate with you. Now, I would challenge you to think about how someone would describe you. How would you describe yourself? Really look within to honestly assess what strengths or qualities you have that would make you a successful leader. This is really the fundamental work I think we should all do. By understanding our strengths, we gain confidence. And by understanding our opportunities for improvement, we continue to grow. It's a journey. We're all works in progress, and our strengths and our areas for growth continue to change over time. But doing this important self-reflection is an essential step in understanding who you are or who you could be as a leader. So this oak tree is just simply awe-inspiring to me. And so what are those qualities in a leader that are awe-inspiring to you? Who are those people who have real influence, and what is it about them? Reverent power is a form of personal power in leadership. a form of reverence that is gained really from how others perceive you. It's the ability of a leader to influence a follower because of the follower's admiration and respect. Reverent power is about inspiration and influence and trust, and it's something that's earned. Reverent power, as you might assume, is not about hierarchical leadership structures. It's really a form of personal power. I imagine all of us can think of colleagues or leaders you know who hold reverent power with others. Reverent leadership is not about a title or a role. It's about having those qualities that inspire and influence others. And in healthcare right now, I believe having the ability to inspire and influence others is essential. Who do you know who has reverent power? And what is it about them that gives them that power? What can you learn from them? So we've talked about the importance of understanding where your passion and your purpose lie, and also the value of self-reflection and understanding what are those characteristics and leadership styles that resonate most with you. So now let's shift and we'll talk about some strategies to grow or cultivate your leadership development or to take your leadership skill set to the next level. The strategies I'm going to share are really ones that I have found incredibly valuable on my leadership journey. I've read the books and I've listened to the TED Talks, but honestly, I find a lot of them are a little overwhelming. And so in my own reflection, it's really the following strategies that I feel have been most successful in allowing me to grow as a leader. So first, and we already talked about this a little bit, know your strengths. This is your power. This is about knowing what those characteristics are that you embody that would make you a successful leader. It took me a while to understand my strengths, and I think most of us tend to focus on our weaknesses or our areas of opportunity, and I am certainly no different. It's really only been in the last decade that I've come to realize that some of the qualities that I had always perceived as a weakness were maybe actually my strengths and part of my power. So I'm an introvert, and as an introvert and someone who is always on the quieter side, I tend to sit back and take things in. I now realize those qualities have made me a great listener. I think it's allowed me to see others' perspectives and to be able to see the big picture. But it wasn't until I read Quiet by Susan Cain that I learned to embrace my strengths as an introvert and realize that that was part of my power. So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert or wherever you are on your leadership journey, do the important work of knowing and understanding your strengths. It's a win-win because that will fuel your confidence, and you'll also understand what are those things or qualities you can still work on and nurture. Okay, second strategy. Without a doubt, if I didn't push myself to step outside my comfort zone over and over throughout my career, I could guarantee you that I wouldn't be talking with you today or have the incredible honor to serve as AACN's president. So take the leap. Try something new, raise your hand, jump in. It's by stepping outside of your comfort zone that doors will open and opportunities will emerge. And you'll also find out so much about yourself in the process. I remember when I was new in my current role almost 20 years ago, and I was scheduled to present at a national conference, first time ever. I was thrilled and excited, but completely, totally petrified. Just thinking about this presentation months ahead of time elicited immediate heart palpitations for me. And without a doubt, I was completely out of my comfort zone. But I did it. And then I did it again and again. And soon a confidence grew, and it became easier and easier. So think about ways that you could push yourself outside of your comfort zone. And think about what that looks like to you. And embrace it and try it. Give it a shot. So I love aspen trees and aspen groves. Living in Colorado, they're everywhere, and I just think they're so beautiful. But the interesting thing about aspen trees is that while aspens grow as individual trees, underground, their roots are actually connected and intertwined. They're actually one large collective organism. This is how I think about healthcare. How all of us are interconnected and interdependent on each other, with each of us having a critical role to play in the delivery of healthcare. So I think having the power and ability to nurture collaboration is an absolutely essential skill for healthcare leaders. Too often in the past, we've worked in silos, whether it's within our own disciplines or within our own departments. And now more than ever, it's essential that we have leaders who foster collaboration, who ask who is not at the table, who can bring disparate groups to consensus, who can break down silos and build partnerships. This is so critical as we look to our future in these really transformational times. And so think about what skills you have that nurture and grow teamwork and collaboration. What lens do you bring to the table? And can you see outside your own lens to see others' perspectives? How do you bring diverse perspectives together and work towards common collaborative solutions? During these disruptive, often polarized and divisive times, the skill of collaboration is an absolutely essential one that we should all nurture. So we've all heard the saying that if a tree falls in the wood, does it make a sound if there's no one there to hear it? Well, I don't know the answer to that question, but I think this saying highlights a really important point, and that's the power of listening. Successful leaders understand and hone their power of listening. They realize it's not about them. It's about those they are tasked with leading. And good leaders listen often, and they listen deeply. And reverent leaders achieve their power, not just by inspiring and influencing others, but by listening, which builds trust, creates safety, and builds collaboration. So how do you hone your power of listening? Start by thinking, what kind of listener are you? Are you jumping in to complete someone else's sentence before they're finished speaking? Do you have a comment or a rebuttal ready before someone else is done? Perhaps clouding your ability to really listen to what they're saying? Or do you listen fully? Do you acknowledge what you're hearing? I understand what you're saying. Or it sounds like you have concerns with. Many of you have heard or may have heard of the acronym WAIT. Why am I talking? WAIT. It's a great reminder for all of us to keep in the back of our heads, to pause, and to remember to keep your emphasis on listening. One of the things I've learned through my journey is that in general, I'm an optimist. I tend to see the beauty and the light rather than the thunderstorms or the clouds. Desmond Tutu said, "Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness." And I think that's an important quality for leaders in these times. Sometimes the storm clouds can overwhelm you and keep you from seeing that light. And right now in healthcare, it's easy to stay focused on the thunderstorms and the clouds, the overwhelming burden from this pandemic. But I think keeping your eyes on the horizon allows you to see past current hardships and barriers and envision the future beyond. In many ways, this is about perspective. We want leaders, we need leaders that can inspire hope, that can help others to see the horizon as well. Along the same lines as keeping your eyes on the horizon is finding opportunity in the chaos. This perhaps doesn't come natural for many people and can be a more difficult strategy or skill to acquire. These past 2 years with the pandemic have taken the definition of chaos to a whole new level, especially within healthcare. Yet, despite such turbulent and challenging times, we've also seen incredible innovation, and we've seen so many rise to the challenge. Over and over, we've seen those who have stepped forward to define new ways of providing care, opening up new units, to envision and create new staffing models. It's endless. And it's the leaders who have said, we can do this. We will find a way. Leaders who can see that sometimes the chaos can provide a chance to try something new, something different. And it's these visionary leaders who can see past the chaos that allows them to lead others to see past the chaos as well, to be able to envision new possibilities. Another leadership strategy I've relied on is finding those mentors along the way that have inspired and pushed me. This doesn't have to be a formal mentor partnership by any means. In fact, many of my most trusted mentors have been informal mentors, colleagues that I've sought out for advice, colleagues that I admire and trust, and that I wanted to learn from. And it's often these formal or informal mentors who see things in us that we don't always see in ourselves, whether we're talking strengths or perhaps opportunities. And I think a key component of successful mentorship partnerships is being able to establish an open, honest, two-way feedback channel. It's got to be two ways, and that's simply essential. You don't want a mentor also that's going to sugarcoat everything for you or always tell you what you want to hear. So look around in your circle, or even outside of your circle. Who do you see as someone who might be an inspiring mentor for you? Seek them out and ask them. I guarantee that this partnership will be mutually beneficial for both the mentor and the mentee. Growing your network is another essential strategy for aspiring leaders. This is about relationship building. It's about cultivating relationships and networks that you can learn from and grow with throughout your career. And in our healthcare field, it provides many rich opportunities to grow your network, whether it's through your training, through collaborations within your areas of research or practice, attending conferences such as this one, participating in national collaboratives. The opportunities are there. Another way is becoming involved with a professional organization such as SCCM. That's an excellent way to grow your network, and it provides countless opportunities for involvement and leadership development if you choose. So the last strategy I'll share is about pursuing opportunity. Growing your network and pursuing opportunity go hand in hand, especially when we're talking about leadership development. If you want to grow your leadership portfolio, raise your hand, put yourself out there, and be a part of the solution. This is where involvement in professional organizations can really provide you with a powerful boost to your leadership development journey. They provide many opportunities to test and grow your leadership skills in ways, honestly, that you might not have a chance to do so in your day job. So volunteer for a work group, join the conference planning committee, or is there a task force that looks interesting to you? Start small, just get involved. That was how I not only grew my network, but I found invaluable opportunities to advance as a leader. And it's also a chance to grow your big picture visioning and global thinking skills. So you're no longer just thinking about your department or your hospital. The narrative shifts to the bigger picture, to your profession. What does your profession need? What are the impacts of decisions at a broader healthcare system level? Pursuing leadership involvement in professional organizations is a win-win in my mind for everyone. It provides leadership growth opportunities for you, and it positively impacts the professional organization and also potentially your own organization. So think about ways that you can pursue opportunities and get more involved. It's a fundamental step in building your leadership portfolio. So with that, I wanted to share just a few final brief take-home points for you as you think about next steps for your leadership development. First, know your purpose and your passion. This is what will provide your strength in tough times on your journey, and it will inspire you to reach higher on other times. Second, understand your power. Know where your strengths lie. Know what you bring to the table. Third, don't be afraid to be bold, to raise your hand, step forward, and stand out. And finally, embrace your journey. All of our paths are different, and I can guarantee very few, if any, are like the beautiful allays of trees that I had envisioned. But there is such beauty and opportunity on all of our paths. So be the leader that embraces their journey, and others will be sure to follow. Thank you so much.